Hey game devs, let's talk about 3D Studio Max's Editable Polygon Chamfer tool. Alright, to get to that, we just have to open up Editable Poly and take a look at it, and then we can come over to the Edit menu, and there's two places you can use Chamfer. Chamfer is either inside of the Vertex mode, or it's inside of the Edge mode. I use it most times during the Edge mode, but for the Vertex mode, let me just show you what it does real quick. Basically, let me do it here, it'll be the easiest to see. If I do it, and I usually right click the menu by the way, if I do it I can pop this out, and then you'll see if I look closer at it, it's just gonna go in 4 directions. And you don't have to have that one selected, and if you select off it by accident, it's totally fine. It's one of the things about Macs that I do like, is that if you miss and you off click and stuff, then it's really easy just to get them right back. There's a couple of drawbacks and little things, but anyway, so that's what a chamfer does for this case. I like to use it sometimes to do holes like this. So if you turn off this little button right here, it means that the chamfer now makes as a hole, which is kind of cool if you're going to start making circles and stuff, or circle cutouts. All right, that's for the chamfer inside of the Vertex mode. Let's cancel that out, and we'll talk about chamfer in the Edge mode. So chamfer in the Edge mode, if I double click on Edge here, what we usually use it for is something like, after we've built it. Now obviously I could have used a extended modifier or extended box and gone over to, for this primitive, extend primitive, and gone over to chamfer box. But this is assuming that it's not making just a chamfer box, and just happen to have that right now for show. If I had something more detailed, or something like an oven or a fridge or something that I want to make sure I get a highlight on. The deal is that in reality, this is an impossible edge. This doesn't catch any light. This isn't, exactly to the micro. It's everything, all the way to the point. It is impossible to make that kind of edge, even in the microscopic level, because it never gets that close in reality. But what we see is this, it does make us feel like a box, but once we do some chamfering on it, and here I'll just reselect where we were, and I'll go to chamfer, and I'll use the tool again. You'll see that it starts to do that. Now, you may say, well, that doesn't look like this hard-edged box that I want. Well, that's fine. We'll just tighten it up just a little bit, and then we'll divide it by 1 here. And if I say OK, and then I deselect, you'll see now I've got this soft little highlight right there. That helps the human eye and everybody else know this feels more realistic. But, and you can go infinite about that if you needed to. But that's how we usually use chamfer the most. There's other uses for it, and I'm going to show you one of those other ones. Another use for it is if you want to do a nice curve on something and you have an editable poly. So what it'll do is, if I do a chamfer on an edge that's on a point, now you know what it does on a point, it'll just do this again, which is, turn off that, it does not what I wanted. But if I want to make this a divided curve on this edge right here, all I have to do is go to Edge mode. And what I do is I grab this edge. If I double click it, it'll go all the way around. And I'll grab that edge, and then I say chamfer. Right now I've set it to 2, and I've set it to low, but let me just show you what it does when I go back to 1. It splits that into 2, even though it says 1. It's just an extra 1 if you want to think of it that way. It's always adding plus what you have. So it's going to travel up to the point, the other vertex in this quad, and try and find a middle ground from where it started to where it is, which seems like it's okay. That doesn't really give me a curve, but what happens is if you give it more divisions, it'll start to curve out, because what it's going to try and do is find the center point where you started, and try and match it to the points that you've pushed it out to. So if I keep going, it'll be wider and the curve will be softer. So let me show you. Undo, and you see that's where it was, and you'll see redo, and that's where it is now. And you'll see it doesn't quite meet up back here like the original one did, but it's trying to even it out and give you a soft curve that way. And you'll see it doesn't change the sides or anything like that. So that's what I use curve for some cases, and then the other one is mainly for the chamfering of the stuff here. But I'm sure there's other uses that I've used it for and that you'll use it for. Anyway, that's the chamfer tool inside of the editable poly for Vertex and for Polygon. I don't believe, yeah, it is in here too. So chamfer inside of here would be for like, let's go to 4 and grab this face. So the border is just to grab, or I call it the kidney bean. The kidney bean is just to grab an inside open edge, meaning open to the world. There's no other faces around it. So you can guess that when I do a chamfer on it, it's going to end up much like, in this case, it's going to be weird because it's going across there and it's really big. But it's going to end up much like what you would expect from a chamfer on a regular edge. So if I turn it down and I pull it out, something like that. Now, the problem is it's only dividing the thing and it's not actually going to curve it because it doesn't have a direction to go in the other direction. Probably why I never used it and didn't even realize it was there. Assumed it was there, just never used it for this purpose. Anyway, it's there, and that's the chamfer. I'll talk to you guys later.